Fabulous. And I'm just going to go live on FaceCB. And then I'm just going to share it into my group. So bear with.
All good.
Lena Queen, glowing like the queen she is.
Thank you, darling.
Right, okay, we are live on Facebook. And I'm just going to share. I don't know how I share this into, I'll do it on my phone. Right. Okay, whilst I'm doing this, Lena, do you want to just start and introduce yourself?
So hi, everyone. So I'm Lena, and I am so passionate about loneliness. And me and Nat thought we'd jump on today so we can just kind of share a little bit about loneliness, a bit about my experience, and how we can maybe help you guys to alleviate yours and make it okay to speak about. So just going back to me and a bit about me and my story, I have had feelings of loneliness since I don't even know, since I can remember. But at first, I didn't know it was feelings of loneliness. I just felt unsupported. I just felt like I didn't belong. I just felt like, what do I bring to the party? Why am I even here? And through, lockdown, I was, obviously we're locked in our house. So we're not able to go anywhere. So that was the time where I done some self-inquiry, and so my phone's popping off there. Done some self-inquiry and kind of like had to learn about myself and be on my own and deal with my feelings rather than going out at the weekend, getting drunk, or trying to find somewhere to go, or trying to just distract myself. And yeah, it weren't until I kind of delved into my own self and worked on myself and done some self-discovery that I realized that, oh shit, like this is a disconnection. I'm feeling disconnected. I'm feeling disconnected from people. I'm feeling disconnection from myself. I feel like I'm really going deep now. So that's me in a nutshell. But I know Nat might want to answer some questions. So I feel like I'm going to end up speaking about it all, and she's going to be like, shit, what am I going to ask?
I can just give you the mic.
Yeah,
mic drop.
Yeah.
That's amazing though. Thank you for that. And I actually, the way you just described that about that disconnect, I think that's such a great way to describe it. And I know I've spoken to you in the past, about how I've kind of had brief encounters with this topic, not in the same way that you have, I know, and but I can definitely relate to that feeling of I think when you know yourself as well, and you know when you have your good days and you're like, oh my god, I'm vibing high, when you're not on that vibe and you're not feeling that good and you are feeling that disconnect, it's so much more apparent, isn't it? And then you start questioning it and you're like, why am I feeling that way?
Yeah,
I just wanted to just touch on that quickly.
No, I love that, Nat, because I know we've spoke ages ago and you was like, I don't know if I've ever felt lonely.
Yeah.
And then I think the more we've spoken about it, you've been like, oh, actually, maybe this type, maybe that type. And that's the thing, people don't realize, it's nothing to be ashamed. I think the word saying to someone you're lonely when you've got a massive family and loads of friends, it's like, how can you be lonely? You've got all of us. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people don't speak about it. They don't speak about it. And it's feeling that disconnection, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I've got some good questions around that, which some people have sent in, which I'm going to ask you in a little bit. But before I do, can you just tell us, obviously this week is Loneliness Week, right? This is why we're doing this call, because we want to raise awareness and want to talk about it. Do you want to just talk a little bit more about Loneliness Week and, what is it that what is the exact message? I know you mentioned briefly at the start, but what do you really want to get across to people? And what is the awareness that you're trying to kind of relay to people over this week specifically in terms of loneliness?
Okay, so firstly, I'm not going to take the credit for Loneliness Awareness Week. It's actually a Marmalade Trust. You should definitely look them up. They've got some amazing insights and links for loneliness and understanding. So anyway, they started the campaign for Loneliness Awareness Week. Mm-hmm. And this year, I hope I'm going to be correct on this, it's about the times that we can feel lonely in our life. So for me, just touching lightly upon it, and we can go more into it, Father's Day, Nat, you know a bit more about that subject, but Father's Day is coming up on Sunday. I absolutely really struggle around that time, and that is the time where I feel a deep loneliness and a deep kind of disconnection. So it's like the timelines in our life. So one could be, for instance, the Jubilee, for instance. There might be people out there that was like, I wish I was in it, you know, I had a community to be in contact with for the Jubilee. You know, there's loads of communities out there that were doing tea parties, but there's also lots of people who are inside on their own, feeling this loneliness. And, you know, like birthdays, Christmases. So it's like different stages of our life where we might feel that loneliness. So I've got a really squeaky chair, and
I can't hear it.
It's like it's giving me a little beat. So yeah, it's what Marmalade Trust is doing is just making that aware that there is times that these, you know, that people are feeling that loneliness. So I just kind of want to bring more awareness to that, and to help people to see that it's not something to be ashamed of. Like, it's not something to be embarrassed about. And I know I suffered in silence for so many years. And because I've done the work, because I've delved really deep into myself, and because I've literally, and it ain't been easy, trust me, like it's not been easy. And I feel like because I've done that, I'm now here to help people to understand theirs and do the same. So that's why I kind of want to speak about it more this week, because it's so apparent, and it's being talked about in other places as well. So it's kind of the right time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's so interesting, isn't it? How, like, you know, when we're growing up and when we're going through life, like we experience all these things, and then like at the time it's awful. We feel, you know, we experience bad things and things feel really bad. But like with you, how amazing, I said this to you just the other day when I saw you, like how amazing is it that you've been through what you've been through so that you can now teach how to deal with it, and how, you know, you can share your wisdom on it. Like, how amazing is that? I just think it's amazing.
Thanks, darling. There's this saying that I just love, and I think hopefully someone else out there will love this too. Your story could be someone else's survival guide. And when I heard that, I was like, damn, that's why I'm here. You know, all my life I've searched for my purpose, all my life, like until like what, last year?
Yeah.
Literally, should I be a firefighter? Should I be a fucking PT? Should I be a, you know, accountant? Where does that even come from? Do you know what I mean? I tried to figure out, where do I fit in? And now, like, for anyone out there who's looking for that purpose, who's looking, your purpose is here. Your purpose ain't out there. Yeah. It wasn't until I was locked up in my own house, business taken away from me, everything taken away from me, that I realized, oh shit, it was here all along. Yeah. It was just, sometimes you've got to go through that little bit of hardship, that little bit of uncomfortability, that sitting on your own, that solitude, that understanding, you know, am I alone or am I lonely? Like understanding where these feelings are coming from and delving a bit more into that, you know.
That leads me perfectly onto my question. It's actually just a question I have wanted to ask you. What's the difference? How do you know if, like, what's the difference in, oh, I'm here on my own and I'm alone and I'm lonely? Like, what are those what's those difference in those feelings? Because I know those are two very different things. And I think maybe sometimes people get confused with that, with those two feelings, and actually recognizing, because like with so many things in life, right, when it comes to our emotions and what we're feeling, and unless we actually are aware of what that emotion is and what, you know, what it is we're feeling, we can't deal with it. So there might be people watching this who are alone but aren't actually lonely, or there might be people who aren't alone and are really fucking lonely. Like can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yep. So loneliness is an emotional state. So it's where you're feeling disconnected from others. So you can be in a room full of people and feel lonely.
Yeah.
You get me? And I also would like to add, this is just my personal opinion, I feel like it can be a disconnection with yourself as well. So it's making sure all parts of you are fed. I'll go on to maybe that a bit later. But being alone is a physical state when you are actually physically by yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm alone right now because you are on your own. So that's the difference. So alone is when you're physically alone. Lonely is when you've got a disconnection with others and potentially yourself.
Yeah. And because there's people who, I spoke to you about this once, like there's been times where I'm a very happy person to be on my own. Like I love my own company. And I've had conversations with people as well in the past where they've been like, they're in a room of people and they feel lonely. And it's like coming to terms with that and really kind of figuring out how to deal with that. And actually we had someone send a question in. I'm just going to read it out to make sure I get it right. So someone's asked literally that, I'm feeling lonely even when I'm in a room full of people. Do you have any tips on how I can help myself feel better?
So definitely, I've been there, honey, or guy. So another thing about loneliness and feeling lonely when you're in a group of a room full of people is, are they meaningful conversations? Are they fitting a need within yourself? Yeah, filling a need or fitting whatever, I'm like of words.
Yeah.
So basically, if you are in a room, if you're finding yourself like this on a regular basis, this might hurt people's feelings, but they're not your people.
Yeah.
They're not feeling a need. They might feel a need in a different way, but the need that you need at that moment ain't being filled. So it's like you're not going to ask someone who's been married 5 times for marriage advice, are you? Do you get what I'm saying? You need to have someone who actually can give you that advice. That's just a little example. That's probably not the best example, to be fair, but it's making sure that you're connecting. Like, what do you have in common? Like you come up the other week, Nat, and we have deep, meaningful conversations. Not saying that everyone needs that. That's maybe not for everyone. Some people might like to talk about football.
Yeah.
I always bring up football when I have a show.
You bloody love to talk about football more than anyone.
Yeah, some people might be into astrology. Some people might be into plants. Okay, if you're into plants, who are you talking to plants about? Are you having those conversations with people? What do you need? So if you're in a room full of people and you're feeling lonely, it's because there is a disconnection with the level of need and conversation.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. And I think as well that this is kind of a separate topic, but it's kind of it's definitely relevant. Like, I'm sure you'll agree with me, Lena, like you outgrow people, don't you? And that can be really uncomfortable, especially when you're looking at like relationships or family members or best friends, people you've known since you were like tiny, and you feel like you almost have this, you owe them something. So you don't want to remove yourself from that situation when actually like it's killing you inside. And I know so many people who have been in that situation, and you eventually get to a point where you're like, I can't do this anymore, and you remove yourself from that situation. But sometimes people don't remove themselves from that situation, and you keep showing up to that person's house every week, and you keep putting yourself through that torture, really, isn't it? Like, I know that's quite a dramatic word, but like,
no, it's not. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It literally, but you know what? It's hard, and it is going to hurt some feelings. It really is. And even for me, like I literally removed myself to the middle of the North Sea. Like I lived on an island to get because I knew I wasn't in the right place.
Yeah.
I knew I was made for more. Deep down, I weren't saying that every day. Like, I'm made for more. I'm made for more. No, I was not in a good place. And it was the people I had around me. And I'm sorry if that hurts anyone's feelings, but It was.
Yeah.
But I allowed myself to still be in that situation. Sometimes you've got to be selfish.
Exactly.
Sometimes you do. The thing is, you do have to put yourself first. You know that saying, like, you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you put someone else's on.
Yeah.
Like, you only got one life at the end of the day. Like, how do you want to live your life? Don't live it through other people. Like, what makes you happy? And this is where a lot of the loneliness comes from, because if I'm honest with you, like, I've never felt so authentic in my whole life. I'm a massive people pleaser, and I still will be a people pleaser, but I'm trying to do it in a good ways rather than other ways. Yeah, that didn't sound right.
I know that's not what you meant.
That's not what I meant, guys. But yeah, it's like, I think another part of loneliness is you're not allowing your true self to come through. So it's almost like do you get what I'm trying to say? You're holding part of you in that you're not allowing to come out. So it's causing you to be lonely because you're not being true to yourself.
Yeah, totally. And that's like such a great way to kind of monitor, because there's probably people watching this. I remember when I first started like my personal development journey, like back in the 5 years ago, whenever it was. And I remember, like, you know, you read books and you try and like help yourself in different situations, but you often question like, oh, how do I know if that's really what I'm feeling, or how can I address that and this and that. And I think a really great way to you know, figure out if those are your people or not is if you are being yourself or not. Like, if you're feeling, like you said, if you're feeling like you're disconnected, if you're feeling like you can't fully express who you are, they're not your people.
And dulling yourself down. I've dulled myself down for too long. Like, and if you don't like me, a little part of me does feel a little bit upset, but the bigger part of me is like, but you know what? I'm being true to myself, Dan. If you don't like me, that's okay. I don't like some people. It's fine.
That's it, isn't it?
It's okay. You're not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, but you know what? As long as you're your cup of tea, who gives a shit?
Could not agree more. I couldn't agree more.
That should be made into a quote.
I feel like there is I was just trying to think, there's a quote about being everyone's cup of tea, which is really great, and I can't remember the end of it, so I'm not going to say it, so I'll get it wrong and it won't be funny. I have another question that someone has sent in. I have everything going for me in my life in terms of work and in my personal life, but I still find myself feeling lonely a lot of the time. I'm not sure what I need to change. Do you have any ideas on what I could do?
So the first thing that comes to my mind, this light, like,
it's fine. You're like,
I'm like dodging it. The first thing that comes to mind is journaling. So I don't know if you know the studies. I'm not questioning you, but I'm not like testing you, by the way. I'm actually asking you because I usually know, but it's not come to my mind. But there is scientific studies around journaling. And do you know by the top of your head?
No.
I'll have to find out. I'll maybe send it to you so you can link it into the group. But journaling is powerful. So if you feel like you've got everything going on for you and you're like, but there's something, I still feel lonely, like, what is it? And you can't say from the top of your head what it is. You need to go into some self-study. Like journaling, when someone said to me to journal, I was like, you what? You know, like, I haven't written a diary since I was probably 8 or something like that. And then I started it again maybe 2 years ago, maybe not even that. And honestly, the power of it, if you was to write out, what is it I need, or what is this feeling of loneliness coming from? You'd be surprised. You'd probably answer your own question. You just let it flow. I know it sounds a bit nuts. The first thing I started with when I started journaling, I didn't know how to journal. I just wrote anger because that's how I was feeling. And then all the emotions start coming out: anger, rejection, this, that. And then I started writing and stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, where's this coming from? Like, this is very deep. I didn't even realize. So I would say to whoever that was, if you're watching, journaling is a powerful way to understand what it is you need. And even like writing out, like, so you said, was it work life and friend life? She said,
yeah,
okay.
like work and basically everything in her life seems to be as it should be. So like she's in a happy relationship, work is good, personal life, everything's good, but she still doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah, so I have felt like that as well. And again, like with the journaling, but another thing is you could have a bit of a disconnection from yourself. So maybe it's some spiritual practice that you need to do. Maybe yoga will help you feel more connected to your body, or breath work is going to make you feel more connected. Going for a walk in the woods, like, is amazing. So, you know, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, all those, ask yourself, am I fulfilled spiritually? Am I fulfilled emotionally? You will answer your own questions. Trust me, it's all within you.
Yeah, it's so true. Meditating is so great for that, isn't it? Like, meditating and journaling together. Like, meditate, something will probably come to you, and then you journal and you're like, wow, what is this?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, like, I don't know about you, Nat, but I'm new to meditation. You know, I would say 2 years might not sound new, but I'm 33. Do you know what I mean? So
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah. And I do not go one day without meditating.
Yeah.
And if I do, I feel disconnected. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
So it's about meditation. But you have to find what works for you. There's some meditations that I can't listen to, and I'm like, oh, that voice is really annoying, and I'm so sorry, but it just doesn't, you know, it just doesn't hit me. But you've got to find basically what works for you. And I think just try those things. And if you're still feeling that, again, go to sites like the Marmalade Trust, Campaign to Loneliness, even therapy. Like, therapy is an amazing tool because they see what you don't. But I would say try everything yourself first, because you'll be surprised, and then go on to the next.
Yeah, amazing. And can we just touch on soul family?
Yeah, if you like.
I feel like we could just talk about soul family. So I'll let you explain what soul family is, but I just feel like how you just finished that sentence, like, you know, visit this website and do this and do that. What you have created is like so amazing for this whole topic. So yeah, do you want to just talk a little bit about soul family?
Thank you, darling. Can I just try and just change these blinds for a second?
Yes.
Sorry.
Go for it. I'm just going to have a look at the Facebook comments actually whilst you're doing that. Chezzy, you've commented that's fascinating. Can you put what you were referring to about that, so we can get Lena to maybe delve in a little bit more on what that was?
So I hope I'm not a bit too dark now.
It's all good, all good.
Yeah, so soul family. So when I first, again, figured out my purpose, if you say, I was sitting at the table, and I touched on Father's Day a little bit earlier. I was sitting at the table. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching this, but I thought, you know what? My dad's so shit. And then I thought, imagine if you could just adopt a dad. And then literally, like, some sort of fire burnt in my belly. And I was like, I feel like there's something here. Imagine if you could adopt a dad. And then kind of like played with it, looked more into it, like, for myself emotionally, and looked out there, like, is there kind of, like, what is people's family relationships like out there? There's so many people that say my friends are my family, or she's like a sister to me, he's like a brother to me, he's like a dad to me, he's like a mum to me. But imagine if they could actually be that person for you. So it doesn't mean you're going to call them mum or dad, but they could be like that, you know, person. It's not replacing anyone. It's not replacing anyone. It's creating a new type of relationship where you feel connected. You don't feel ostracized. You don't feel alone. You don't feel lonely. That you don't have family. And there's so many people that move abroad and, you know, have lost family or have never had a relationship or break down a relationship. And I kind of wanted to fill that gap, or want to fill that gap. So it's about creating a soul family. So making you feel like you've got a soul father, a soul mother. You can go to watch football with your soul father. You could go have dinner with your soul sister.
Yeah.
You know. So yes, that's what I've created, and I just can't wait to just see it grow and grow and grow. And I have a massive vision for it, and I know there is a place for it. It's just gaining the trust from people.
Yeah.
And just never giving up on your dream. For me, I was like, a year, it's going to be global.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere, it's in every country, you know.
Yeah.
And things take time, but I'm so like connected with this and wanting to make people feel like they've got family. You know, they say you can't choose your family, but what if you could? I want people to feel like they belong to some sort of family, basically.
Yeah. I just think it's amazing.
Thank you, darling.
I love it. And it's like, you know, we've spoken about this many times. Like, you know, I think if you were to speak to every single person that you know, right, your friends, your family, like whoever, they could probably tell you at least one scenario within their family that's just really fucked up and like they have issues with. Yeah. Whether that's somebody that doesn't talk to someone anymore, or whether that's somebody that passed away and it's like traumatized them, or, you know, whatever the situation is, it's just a situation with every family. And I think just creating that and creating that platform, even if you haven't experienced anything personally, like you will know somebody that has. And it's like, just to have that platform, like a safe space, which you're creating, you've created, but are still obviously creating and building. I just think it's amazing. So we'll make sure we drop the link to your Facebook page and stuff underneath here. We can get people in.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, because it would be good to talk to people about it more, because obviously loneliness has come off the back of that. And I've realized through all the studying I've been doing, and I've realized just how much interest I have in loneliness and how it affects us, our brain, our bodies. Like it goes so deep. And obviously if anyone wants to know more, they can obviously contact me. But I've Soul Family's still going, definitely, but I'm also working on the loneliness project. So it's hand in hand. So thank you for sharing that for me, darling.
Of course, can't let that go to miss. Is there anything else that you want to touch on in terms of loneliness that we haven't spoken about already?
So the thing that just comes to my head is, if you're thirsty, what do you need?
Water.
If you're hungry, what do you need?
Burger.
Okay, food.
I'm joking. Food.
So if you're lonely, what do you need? Connection. So loneliness needs tending to, like, water to thirst and food to hunger. And the reason why it feels so deep as well, because loneliness can feel like you're not, it's so deep, I can't even explain it. It's not like, oh, I feel lonely. Like, it's so deep.
Yeah.
It goes way, way back to the tribal times. So we've actually still got that part of our brain, okay? It's the reptilian part of our brain. So we don't just get rid of those parts of our brain. It's layered. So the new parts are layered on top of that. Yeah. So the thought of being kicked. So back in the day, we'd go around in tribes, right? And then what happens if you was to dishonor or do something wrong in a tribe? What used to happen?
You get kicked out the tribe.
Yeah. And if you didn't leave, what would happen to you?
Get killed.
You get killed. So that fear is still in that brain. So that's why it feels like I just want to die. Like, there's times where I'm like, I just want to die. Like, this is horrible. I don't feel like I belong anywhere. This loneliness is a killer. Like, what's that Seal song? Loneliness is, I don't know. So it's, I just want to kind of say, like, if you're feeling lonely, it's signaling that you need something. So if you're feeling lonely, just remember it's signaling that you need something, and tend to it.
Yeah.
We are wired for connection.
Yeah.
Like, we need connection.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it. And you don't get the same connection over social media.
No.
You can't. Like, you can't. And another thing I would say, actually, because I'll give you the tips after, but it's not the same. You need a hug. You need that eye contact. You need that smile. You can't get it over social media, no matter what anyone says.
Yeah.
You don't get connection over that. So I would say connect.
Yeah, I love that. There's actually scientific evidence that when you hug somebody, you release chemicals are released, which makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like that physical touch, like being held by somebody, like it's important. It's so important.
Yeah. One thing I would look into is oxytocin. So oxytocin has now been proven, and scientific studies have shown that oxytocin chemical. Sorry, did I just cut out then?
Yeah, be back.
My back.
You're back.
Oxytocin is the bonding chemical. It's the connection chemical. Mm-hmm. So look at ways how you can. There's lots of different ways how you can create oxytocin in your body, like yoga, hugging, empathy, just having those meaningful conversations.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll definitely say to guys, like, look at, because it's better if you look it up yourself, because when someone tells you what to do, you can get kind of overwhelming, but oxytocin helps you feel more bonded and connected.
So that must be the chemical that I was thinking of when you're hugging. Yeah. I'm gonna do some research because it just intrigues me. But it's so like I know, even like, you know, if I haven't seen my boyfriend for a week and I go and see him and I just like hug him, I'm like, that feeling of like it's a nice feeling.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And you know, like when you think of like relationships and like if you've been with somebody a long time, and I'm just talking about romantic relationships here, and often like the physical side of it fizzles out, like that's so important to maintain that physical relationship, because it releases certain things and it gives you certain things, right, that you won't be getting anywhere else.
There's definitely, do you know what, because there's so much into this, Nat, and I'm trying to figure like the best things to give and say, but I think we need to have another one where we can go through the scientific studies and evidence and the neuroscience and things like that. We both love that, but there's so much into it. Even saying, I want to give you a hug over like here actually does create oxytocin.
Really?
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast yesterday and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's more for engagement. So if you kind of, so obviously you're not going to get that full connection, but it's increasing that chemical in your body.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. It ain't just about, it's not surface level shit. Like this goes deep, like, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to go deep, basically.
Which people don't often want to do, but you have to do it every time. You have to.
If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone would be happy as Larry.
Yeah.
Skipping around. You know what I mean? Like, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But it's one step at a time. Just if you take one little step at a time, you're 1% better off than you was yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Thank you. I have a question. So Kelly's just asked on the Facebook page, question for people who feel lonely but feel they can't speak to anyone. What do you advise?
Okay. So what I would ask is, why do you feel like you can't speak to anybody? There's something that goes with the loneliness and rejection. So a lot of people won't speak because there's a fear of rejection, which then causes more loneliness because you feel like you're going to get rejected. So actually what your brain does is protecting you from speaking to someone because it thinks it's protecting you from rejection, but it's not. You've got to say, look, no, I need connection. I want connection. You've got to tell yourself, I'm worthy of speaking to someone. Sorry, excuse me. I'm worthy of speaking to somebody. I would look again at Campaign for Loneliness and Marmalade Trust, because they do give amazing advice and tips on certain situations that you may be in your life. But what I would say, just from my own experience, I never spoke to anybody about being lonely. But it was because my brain thought it was protecting me.
Yeah.
What is the worst thing someone can say to you if you said to them, I'm feeling lonely? Do you get what I mean? Obviously, some people aren't so supportive, but the only way to get out of your loneliness is to be proactive about it. It's not going to go anywhere if you don't be proactive about it. And I know it's hard, but you deserve that connection. And if you need someone to speak to, you can always message me, find me on Facebook. Yeah. There's so, and even if you feel like you can't physically go and speak to someone, you've got Samaritans, you got, I think, Red Cross. I don't know if you can call Red Cross, but I know they deal with a lot of people who feel isolated and lonely. So there is things out there, but if you want more advice, then reach out to Nat, and she can put you in contact with me.
Yeah, that's great. And
that's helpful.
Yeah, that's so helpful. And I think going back to social media, you know, you were talking about social media earlier, and I think social media has become so, like, people are like obsessed with it, and it's like, it's just this false sense of everything, this false sense of being, this false sense of connection, this false sense of relationships with people, this false sense of just everything is fake. Like Stephen Bartlett, I actually, let me just try and find this. Where did I post it? It was in my story yesterday, and I'm not sure if it's still there. Yeah, here. So Stephen Bartlett wrote, depression among young people has more than doubled. But are we really surprised that a generation addicted to following fake celebrities, living fake lives with fake values, while they express fake emotions on fake reality TV shows, might be struggling to find real happiness? And I was like, that is so spot on.
It really is.
It's really so spot on.
And did you know that actually the loneliest, well, from when I last done my research, it was only a couple of months ago, it might have changed. The loneliest generation right now is 16 to 24 years old. People think lonely people are 70. They're not. Yeah. And who uses the most social media?
Them.
Yeah. Again, as I said, you won't get connection over social media. And if you're feeling lonely, the worst thing to do is to go on social media.
Yeah.
Remember, people portray the good that's happening in their life. And also, a lot of people don't even live like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't even live like that. They don't even preach what they're preaching. I mean, they don't.
They don't live what they're preaching.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, like, I have. Trust me, I have bad days, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, of course, we all do.
But the first thing I don't think to do is go in and go, oh, I'm having a shit day. Sometimes I do, because I think this is the real bloody world.
Yeah.
But social media, I would say, if you can have one day a week. So I usually do a Sunday. I don't go on any, like, I'll go on like WhatsApp and whatever, just to let people know I'm still alive. But like one day, if you could do one day without social media, at least you have just that little break. But avoid social media when you are feeling lonely, because it's going to make you feel even worse.
Yeah, so true. And I can just add something there, like, just as a personal trainer, I can use this as an example. So, like, as a PT, I feel guilty if I don't follow what I'm saying, like what I'm teaching. But at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I'm going to have a shit day now and then, and I'm not going to follow what I teach people. I'm just not. That's life, right? And I think with the generation that we have with social media, and with, like, there's so many coaches like teaching this and teaching that, and we're set, like, with our audiences, like we preach things to people. And I know for myself, like, when you're not doing that, it makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
But it's like, you've got to remember that it's okay to have those bad days. Like you were just saying, like, everyone is human. And like, it's okay to not be like on your A game 100% of the time, because nobody is.
And you know what? My cousin said something to me yesterday, because I'll just give you a little example. I got so drunk on Sunday, right? I had a 2-day hangover.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. My mental health was not in a good place. I haven't been like that for a long time. And you can easily spiral, like you can easily spiral. But again, we are human. My cousin said to me, mistakes are perfect. And I don't know, that just hit me in a different way. I was like, you know what, like, that's so true, because we don't learn from that. Like all the adversity and all the pain that we go through sometimes, okay, I know at the time you're not like, oh, this is going to be worth it in the end. This like mind fucking and anxiety, oh, it's all going to be worth it, give it to me. No, it ain't like that. But in the end, you're like, oh my God, now I know why I went through that. Now I know why I was feeling shit yesterday, because actually it was showing me that that person ain't good for me. Or drink isn't good for me. Or I need to get more sleep. Or, you know, oh, I've spent more time on social media. There's reasons behind not feeling good as well, but it's not beating yourself up about it. It's like talking to yourself after, why was I having a shit day yesterday? Actually, if you haven't got the energy to do it on the day, like, ask yourself, why was I going through that? Do you know what I mean?
No, totally. That's I totally agree. And it's just like addressing, isn't it? Addressing and being honest with yourself and being real with yourself, and like not pretending everything's fine when if it isn't. It's so important.
I think that's really hard, though, Nat, as well, because even me, like, I have to work really hard to open up and show that vulnerability. But once you show your vulnerability, other people, you kind of give them the space to be with you. So I could say to you, do you know what? Well, actually, before this call, let's just be real. I didn't have a great moment with Frankie. I was like, I haven't even prepped properly because I just had a bit of a moment with Frank. And it's like, that's just life. It's just happens, isn't it? It's you have those moments, and we're just human. At the end of the day.
That's it. That's the bottom line, isn't it? We're just human. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Lena. Is there anything else you want to mention before we finish up?
I'll give you a couple of tips. I think I've actually gone over the tips, but I've got a couple of tips. So regarding like loneliness and alleviating it and helping with the feelings, the first element of change is awareness. So if you are feeling lonely, like, ask yourself, like, where is this feeling coming from? It's being aware of the loneliness, because a lot of the time we don't know we're going through that loneliness. We just might feel unloved or unsupported. Ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? I know it's hard, but sitting with it and understanding where it's coming from, that just kind of leads on to that one. So self-study, like, studying is great. Studying really gets your minds going. Just learning more about yourself, like, and your own interests. Like, what do you like? What do you like to do? What did you used to like to do? You know, and I'll go on to like getting creative. So a lot of people think, oh no, I'm not going to draw, or I'm not going to do art. I've done that in primary school. No, art is expressing yourself. Like, how do you express yourself actually? When is the last time you got creative? Like, when is the last time, like, I've got art around my house, like, when is the last time you got creative? So get creative.
So, Lena, I'm so sorry. Someone's at my door. You carry on.
No worries. See, that's life, guys. So another thing is look at building your confidence. So one thing that holds a lot of people back from making those connections and talking to people is their own confidence. So how can you build your confidence? So if you're not ready to walk out that door and start speaking with somebody, what's the next step that you can take to get you to that door? And what's the next step you can take to get you out that door and just maybe walk down the road? So instead of going, you've never public spoke before, but you've not been out your house for ages. You can't just go from being in your house for 3 months to then being expecting to public speak. No, take those little steps. So how can you build your confidence? And that's definitely something that I work with. So if you want help with that. And then again, looking at the websites, Campaign for Loneliness and Marmalade Trust is where you're going to get a lot of great information, because I kind of wanted to give as much as I could in this, and I hope it's been helpful. But yeah, that's the kind of tips that I would give.
Amazing. Sorry about that, by the way.
Don't be silly. That's life.
That's life. ASOS delivery. I mean,
it was very important. What did you
very
get?
important. Some stuff for my hen do this weekend.
Oh,
but honestly, Lena, that was amazing. And I've spoken to you. You know, we talk all the time. So like, it's so. But every time we speak about it, like, I learned something from you, and that's like a really great thing. So thank you. And I'm sure that so many people have taken away so much from that. If anyone, sorry, go on.
No, I said I really hope so. And thank you so much for your kind words.
Of course. And if anyone is watching this on the replay, or if you're watching it now and you've got any questions that, you know, maybe you didn't want to put in the comments, and maybe you just want to ask Lena or me like directly, just drop us a private message. And we can, you know, we can arrange a call maybe with Lena, like Lena does this. Lena's like, you know, the expert on all of this, so she'll definitely be able to help you.
Yeah, I'm definitely here to help. Thank you so much, babe, for like just being the platform for sharing such an important subject. So I'm grateful.
Mwah. Grateful for you, my love, and thank you so much. Thank you for watching, guys, and we will be back soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.